In the far back, yeah.
What was your very first acting job, or how did you get started?
My mom read in the paper. I was an extra in Mr. Holland's Opus with Richard Dreyfuss, which I vowed never to do again. And I only was coming in for one day, and I don't know if anyone's ever been an extra, but it's very cliquey. It's very like high school. So if you come in for one day, no one cares who you are, and they don't want to talk to you. I was 14, and Kate has seen it. I had braces. I wasn't the cutest thing in the world. And so I was sitting by myself eating lunch one day, and Richard Dreyfuss walked by and said something to the, effect of like, oh, why are you by yourself? Are you alone? And I said, I hate this. I'm never doing it again. And I said, but I will work with you one day. And 5 years later, I was playing his daughter on a TV show. It was very interesting. But the first job that I got was, my mom saw in the paper that they were casting extras for a Lifetime movie called 15 and Pregnant. And so, in my hometown in Oregon. So I went down to be an extra, and the girl, they forgot to cast the role, or the girl didn't show up from California, and they had to shoot it the next day. And so they just said, you, and you, can you act? And I went, yeah. They're like, take this, memorize it, and come back. And I was like, okay. So I came back, and I ended up getting the part and having to call my mom really quick and going, I'm not 18, you have to sign this for me. And then the director liked me, I guess, and he and his wife convinced my mom to let me move to California at 17. And so 6 months later, I was living in LA, and that was my first job. It was with Kirsten Dunst. So, so that was the first job, and then, I don't know what came after that. Zoe Duncan, Jack and Jane came after that, where I got to kiss Michael Rosenbaum. Yeah, we were just talking about that the other day on a plane back from Vancouver, too, and we were both like, I got to make out. I love Michael, he's a friend of mine, so it was all cool. But anyway, so everything comes back, full circle, everything does. So,
What is Richard Dreyfuss like? Did you get to talk to him?
I played his daughter on a TV show for a year, so, and I had moved to New York to shoot the series, and Richard is he's a consummate professional. He's absolutely amazing, and he takes his craft very seriously. And on that show, on every given day, was working with Marcia Gay Harden was on the show as well, and Peter O'Toole and Eli Wallach. So it was like going to acting class every day, working with like 4 Oscar winners every day of my life. It's like, this is absolutely insane. And I was kind of rebellious when I was 21, and a little crazy. And so I had to be, reined in a couple times, and learned a lot of valuable lessons on that show, what to do and not to do at work. And so he became a father figure to me, which is basically what Edward almost has become. So it's been nice, because I did kind of grow up in the business. I mean, even though I started when I was 17, I went through, a lot of formative years as I was growing up in this business. So it was nice to have those people really take you under your wing and have no ulterior motive, which everyone does. So.
I was watching on stage and so on that you're very vibrant, public personality. I can see that in that aspect of the Starbucks character that sort of probably just came on the screen.
Yeah.
When you have to do very dramatic, like when you're confessing to Edward that you're responsible for his son's death and stuff like that, and it's very serious and so on. Can you maybe describe a little about the process and how you get in that mindset? You're another dog dying when you're 6 or something?
I never had a dog till now. No, I've always said this, I never studied, so I don't really know what I'm doing. So the only way for me to really do my job, I guess, is to put myself so in the character that it just kind of comes out of me, I guess. In the scenes with Eddie, I definitely, I don't need it silent. Like, I'm joking around right before the scene, and everyone's like, how do you do that and then cry? But if you really put yourself in the character, and at this point, I've been playing this character for 5 years, it's part of me. I don't think anyone knows it the way that I do. It just kind of happens, because I feel so much pain for this woman, because she's so scared and so vulnerable and so alone and so lost that your heart breaks for her every time something happens. So it's very easy to put yourself into her shoes, and especially sometimes when you do scenes with Eddie, during that scene when I walked out with my hands on covering my head, I thought he was going to hit me. I really did. Like, he's absolutely terrifying to work with, and I thought he was going to hit me. And that's why I turned around and walked out and like covered my head because I was shocked. I was like, I thought seriously it was over, and I walked up and I was like, I thought you were going to kill me. So, if the people you're working with are good actors, which everyone on Battlestar is, you seem to just kind of, it just flows. It's very easy. Yeah. Well, thank you. This is a very interesting question, actually, because unless anyone has seen me outside with a cigarette in my hand today, I quit smoking 2 years ago, except for today. So, I called my boyfriend. I was like, I'm smoking, it sucks. And he was like, well, smoke today and then start again tomorrow. Because everyone falls off, it's fine. It's like, okay, but Starbucks doesn't smoke anymore because of that reason. I had a little girl walk up to me a couple years ago, 2.5 years ago, something like that, and asked me why I smoked. And the look in her eyes, she just had this utter respect and admiration for me. And she knew that I smoked. And I was like, oh my God, I am such a bad influence right now. And I realized at that moment that, in film it's different because you charge an admission price, people come in. On television, it's a medium that everyone can watch. And I realized at that moment that you have a responsibility to people watching the show, and everything else that Starbucks does can be explained away. She drinks. Well, if you drink in moderation, you're fine. She has sex. If you do it safely, you're fine. She beats up men. If you know what you're doing, you might be. But smoking was the only thing that couldn't be explained away. I mean, it will kill you, but at the end of the day, that's what it does. So it's the one thing that I said to the producers, I no longer want this character to smoke at all. So I think like episode 4 was the last time she had a cigarette this season. Because they kept saying to me, well, she's going to continue to smoke if you smoke. And I was like, well, then I'll quit. So. You shouldn't be clapping. I've had 2 cigarettes today. I've only got 1 more in my pocket. I'm saving it tonight when I have my glass of wine. I am nervous. I'm really bad in front of people. So, well, I stopped shaking.